24 Lenza, and welcome. Today's talk is going to be about ADHD support and solutions. But most of all, we're going to talk today in this first part of a two-part series of what foods to avoid if you have a diagnosis of ADHD. Okay, number one, let's get right into it. But before I start, if you would, I'm really big on surveys. Put yes in the comments section if you know of anyone, friend, family, that suffers with ADHD. Just put a yes in the comments section, just kind of let me know if our audience is familiar with this and knows anyone that suffers from these types of diagnoses. Okay, foods to avoid. Number one, sugar. Sugar. Now I'm talking about processed sugar. What this does, it spikes insulin and the blood. Okay, this will cause noted hyperactivity in the ADHD child. Okay, too much sugar also starts to cause excess candida, which is yeast, and which even likes to feed on more sugar. So you get this these cravings. You know, sugar starts more sugar and more sugar and more sugar. Over time, too much sugar will build up an excess of candida. Now, this candida is actually yeast growing in our intestinal systems, which likes to feed on this sugar. And eventually, what happens with this candida overgrowth is it'll actually punch holes into our small intestines. That's a problem because bacteria and food particles that are not absorbed properly in the small gut will get directly into the blood system, causing a autoimmune problem and sometimes leading to leaky gut diagnosis. A leaky gut diagnosis is also a problem because it's a precursor of an autoimmune problem. But let's just stick to ADHD foods to avoid right now. What happens is that the sugar causes brain fog in the child. They can't pay attention, and it starts to notice at home and in school. There's big inflammation noted in the gut due to this sugar intake. Okay, next is gluten products. And by the way, 40% of Americans have some type of gluten intolerance. Gluten is a sticky protein, okay? And these gluten foods, or this gluten, will actually carve out a section in the small intestine where the villi is. And why is that significant is because this villi is important for nutrient absorptions. That's why a lot of times people that have gluten intolerances are nutrient deficiency. And we have wonderful testing, could be done at the comfort of your own home to check and see if you're battling with any type of gluten challenges. Okay, next on the list to avoid for ADHD symptoms is conventional dairy. You know, your dairy products, your milks and your cheeses. What the milks and the cheeses contain is called beta casein A1, which is actually it'll actually cause a gluten type reaction. So a lot of times we're finding out the people with ADHD like diagnoses and symptoms when they're eating this conventional milk and these cheeses, it wreaks havoc on these individuals, and then you start getting these symptoms: hyperactivity, loss of attention, fogginess, and so forth. Here's a big one: food dyes. We've all seen this. You know, these food dyes are containing dyes in cereals, candies, which these food dyes tend to increase the outburst of these types of ADHD symptoms. Here's a quick note concerning that. You know, turn over the label on some of these cereals and so forth. And if you see like the ingredient that says yellow 5 or blue 22 or red number 4, that's not a natural food. Don't eat it. Do not consume that. It'll definitely wreak havoc on ADHD symptoms. Refined carbohydrates, things like donuts, cereal bars. These things will spike inflammation because they contain a lot of gluten and sugar. A lot of times we feel that these refined carbohydrates are actually worse than pure sugar. Okay, next on the list to avoid for ADHD type individuals is foods that contain nitrates. They're found commonly in lunch meat, breakfast bacon. These things cause major gastric inflammation. Okay? Artificial sweeteners. Just because it doesn't contain real sugar does not mean that it will not cause inflammation. Artificial sweeteners will kill off the good bacteria in our gut. They have also been linked to short-term memory loss and other brain issues. Okay? So you can see how we're putting together these gluten, artificial sweeteners, and we're linking what research has says this gut-brain connection, especially the studies have shown in this ADHD type diagnosed individual. Okay, and these artificial sweeteners will actually destroy this good connection that we do need for the gut and the brain. Soy. Now I'm talking about soybean oil. Soy protein and soybean oil, very inflammatory in nature. Very causes a lot of allergies, especially in children. Just try to stay away from soybean oil. Don't consume it. Food sensitivities. Now, you know, this one I always compare to, like, everyone knows Superman and kryptonite. You know, what I mean there is that you and I could go towards and pick up kryptonite in the old cartoon series of Superman, and it wouldn't bother us. And then Superman, who's real strong, he couldn't touch kryptonite. He'd get very sick. Well, the same thing happens with foods and sensitivities. We have patients here, for example, very common food is eggs. Okay, eggs may not be tolerable for one patient, and then another patient is fine with it. You know, common symptoms that you find when you're first starting out with these food allergies may be a slight headache after you're consuming or you're eating something, or maybe you're going to have a runny nose, or maybe your bowel movement has changed. Well, you know, so these are just some of the top foods to avoid for the ADHD individual that's diagnosed with this. I hope you found value in this short video, which is a part 1 series. We're going to come back here tomorrow with a part 2 series on what foods are really good to eat to help support and work with ADHD support. If you're on Facebook, please share this message. Help me help other people. Share the message with someone that you know. Press the like button. If you're in YouTube, please subscribe so you're notified of other content-rich videos that we do for our community here. If you have any questions, give us a call, 859-777-2149, or private message us. We're here to help. Well, I hope you found value. We'll be talking to you real soon. This is Dr. Sam from Chronic Health Solutions, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.